Hey everybody, Coach Drew here, specializing in helping people do what is very difficult to do, which is have healthy, happy, fulfilling relationships. Now, I know that apologies are part of every healthy relationship because nobody's perfect. And sometimes we have an opportunity to see how it's done well and how it's not done well. And today we're going to look at it on a macro level. We're looking at an apology from Justin Trudeau, and I think this is a good learning opportunity. So stay tuned. We're going to dissect this. Coach Drew. All right, so let's dive into this. Let's go from the beginning. Okay, we know the facts. 2001, he dressed up brown face for an Arabian Nights theme party. And he also acknowledged that he had on makeup when he was pretending or lip syncing to Harry Belafonte's Deo song. Now, the question here, from my perspective, is not whether or not that's racist or he's racist. That's not my primary concern at this point. My question is, and my duty here is to dissect this apology and talk about what we all can learn from this. So, let's look at what he did great. Let's start there.
In 2001, when I was a teacher out in Vancouver, I attended an end-of-year gala where the theme was Arabian Nights. And I dressed up in an Aladdin costume and put makeup on. I shouldn't have done that.
Okay, so he was very specific. He didn't deny anything, okay? He didn't deny anything. He was very specific. And what else did he do a good job of?
I take responsibility for my decision to do that. I shouldn't have done it. I should have known better. It was something that I didn't think was racist at the time, but now I recognize it was something racist to do, and I am deeply sorry.
I appreciate his use of the word decision. Okay, decision is important. It speaks to taking ownership, not just responsibility, not just saying I'm responsible, but I made a choice. I made a decision. That's good. He's very good at answering questions, by the way. So if you're ever caught on, off guard, watch the way he answers some questions. So most of these he answered really well and directly. Some of them he didn't answer directly. But anyhow, we'll leave that up. So I think that's pretty much it that he did a good job of, right? He was very specific. He didn't deny anything, which is good. And here's where we don't get to see the details. We don't get to see the intimate conversations that he will have with people that he knows, because he might do some of what I think is lacking in this apology in those intimate conversations. So let's talk about some of the things that I would say he would have done a better job at being he would have been more effective, okay? Now, it doesn't mean that people weren't hurt already. Like, it's going to take time. But what will help aid the process of healing and restoring of credibility are some of these things. Number one, never use the word but in an apology.
Should have known better, but I didn't. And I'm really sorry.
Okay, number one. His reference to it wasn't so bad, but you don't want to do that. Number two, mistake. It is a mistake to use the word mistake in an apology.
I have worked all my life to try and create opportunities for people to fight against racism and intolerance, and I can just stand here and say that I made a mistake when I was younger, and I wish I hadn't.
And I understand where it comes from, right? I've had arguments about this with people. So the reality is there's a connotation about mistake that makes it sound like it was an accident, right? I didn't mean to. Intentions have nothing to do with hurt. They really don't. To the hurt person, I don't care what your intentions are, you did it. Okay, so using the word mistake instead of what I would say is a better choice of words is a wrong decision, an unwise choice, a bad choice. Like, although he's saying I'm taking responsibility, when we use the word mistake, it kind of erodes that sense of really taking responsibility. Right? He acknowledges that I should have known better, but I didn't. We can't say, again, credibility. Do we want to believe that? Choice is yours. But mistake is not a good word to use. Again, wrong choice, bad decision, unwise decision. That's better. Now, what else do I think was missing? He used the word regret.
How do you feel about this coming out right now in the campaign?
Obviously, I regret that I did it.
That's fine. I regret it could be very true. But there's a difference between regret and remorse. Okay? Regret is where we know we've done something bad, but it usually comes to light, right? It's come to light, and then you say, I regret that I did that, right? The question is, if it wasn't caught, would you experience remorse? Would you have acknowledged it? And somebody asked the question, right? When you saw all these other people being called out about stuff, how come you didn't come forward? Right? So it speaks to remorse. And that's the part we don't get to see. That's the part that's missing for a lot of apologies. People don't demonstrate a sense of sorrow for what they've done. Guilt and sorrow are very different. When you take responsibility, you acknowledge guilt. But when you actually feel the sorrow, that's what helps people to say, okay, you get it. How do you know someone's experiencing sorrow? Well, there's a sense of empathy. They put into words how their actions have impacted you. That's missing, right? Of course, he could talk about there's disappointment. He didn't talk about the reality that I am a leader and there are these expectations of me, and this is how I have wounded you, right? That's what's missing. He may do that in more intimate, private conversations. And if he ever watches this video, I would encourage you to label those things that people are feeling, right? They're feeling a sense of betrayal, right? They're feeling a sense of, some people are probably feeling pretty hopeless. I mean, some of us are very jaded, well, I can't even call it jaded. I just accept the reality. We all have biases. We all have prejudices. Nobody's perfect. I agree with you, Justin Trudeau. If you're waiting for a perfect politician to run, you might as just wait till Jesus comes back, because ain't nobody perfect, right? So, but that's the missing piece. So he did some things great. There's some things for all of us to learn. If you want to restore credibility, you've got to demonstrate that you understand the impact that you've had on people. And then we talk about a hot keyword, reparation. What's the plan of action? What are you going to do? You can't undo it, but what are you going to do to restore credibility?
I've taken responsibility for it, for having made a real mistake in the past. I stand here, before Canadians, as I will throughout this campaign, and talk about the work we have to do to make a better country together. And I'm going to continue to stay focused on that and continue to work to fight intolerance and discrimination, even though, obviously, I've made a mistake in the past.
There's no plan of action. And I know this just happened, but that's a missing piece. In fact, that's step number 3 in the art of a genuine apology. Where is your plan of action, your commitment to not do such a thing again? And how will you make amends? Like, what is there that you're going to do? What are you going to offer? And I think it's very difficult on such a large scale, right? There's so many people that are impacted by this. What can you do? That's why it's important to give it some thought. And I hope he does give it some thought, but that's a missing piece. And the last part, the dialogue, the exchange. Now, we may never get to see this because I don't know how he's going to do that. The exchange between the people that he's hurt, that's what's really going to come down to. Did I get this right? Does my apology mean anything to you? Did I miss anything? That's what's missing. Art of a genuine apology is for intimate relationships, but it's not just on a micro level, but on a macro level. Let's learn from this, right? Let's learn from this. I want to know your thoughts. Let me know what you think. Until next time, continue to learn, heal, and grow.